So I just started my hike up Bald Mountain. Bald Mountain itself is just under 12,000 feet. I'm hoping I can get up there before the sun sets and plan the Milky Way shot that I'm wanting to take and set up one of my cameras for a time lapse. Only problem is I've got 2 camera bodies, 3 if you count the GoPro, 2 lenses, and 2 tripods. So this hike's a little bit harder than it normally is. One of the reasons I love being up here in the Uintas so much is because of the solitude. There was a train of people on my way up here, but as of right now, on Bald Mountain, even though it's as busy as it is all the way down through here, there's nobody. I've got the place to myself. Man, I love it up here. It just makes me so happy. The reason I'm up here a couple hours before sunset is because I like to have an idea of the image that I want to take. For example, I know that the core of the Milky Way, as soon as it gets dark, is going to be back right behind me over here. I know that the tail of the Milky Way, the arch, is going to come up over top of these peaks, including Hayden Peak right over here, and it's going to end over there. So by getting up here early, I can scout out locations that I'm going to shoot. I can set up my tripod and get everything ready. I found that when I'm doing this in the dark, my images don't turn out as good and I'm a lot more rushed. So by getting up here early and planning your shots, the quality of the photographs you get are going to be a lot better. I'm going to be up here until past midnight, and I wasn't going to stand up here all night. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up my camp chair here. I've got a blanket over there in my backpack. I can't think of a better place to sit down and watch the sunset than right here. If I had a top sirloin and some crab legs, it would literally be perfect. So as you guys can see behind me, the sun's starting to go down, and boy, it is getting cold. I should have brought a coat. Anyways, I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to photograph the Milky Way tonight while I've still got a little bit of light. So the first thing I've done is I've set up my tripod and I've leveled it. When you're taking a panorama, like I'm going to be doing of the Milky Way through here tonight, your tripod has to be level. If it's not level, your images will be off and it'll just look weird and the cropping will be awful. So the first step, make sure if you're doing a panorama that you level your tripod. If you're doing a single image, you don't have to do that, but with panoramas it is necessary. The second step is it's a lot easier to focus during the daytime than it is at nighttime. In the nighttime, if you focus on the stars, your autofocus isn't going to pick anything up. It's going to be hunting the whole time and you're never going to focus on anything. So what you can do is, if you're taking an image at nighttime, is you can put your camera in manual mode, and on the back of your LCD screen here, like I've got, you can zoom in on one of the stars and then you can focus on the star. If you don't focus on the stars, then your image is going to be blurry and it just won't look good. The second recommendation I have is to always shoot RAW. Now, most of the cameras nowadays have the ability to shoot in JPEG or RAW. By shooting in RAW, the amount of information you're getting in each image is so large that in post-processing like Lightroom or Photoshop, you're able to tweak the image the way you would like it. By shooting in RAW, you can also adjust your white balance in post-processing. Personally, I shoot mine on daylight, and then if I want to tweak it in post-processing, I have the option to do that. The last recommendation I have is to take complete control of your settings by shooting in manual. So by shooting in manual, you have complete control of your shutter speed, your ISO, and your aperture. Personally, when I'm shooting Milky Way images, my ISO is anywhere from 3200 to 10,000 sometimes. My aperture is always the lowest it can go, and that's going to vary depending on what lens you're using. For mine, on this lens, it's a wide angle lens, it's a f2.8, or it has an aperture of 2.8. Now for my shutter speed, I try and keep it below 25 seconds. If I shoot longer than 25 seconds, the stars, if you zoom in, they'll actually start to take on the shape of an egg, meaning that the Earth has rotated during that exposure and the stars are no longer sharp. So by keeping my image at 25 seconds or below, those stars stay pin sharp because the amount of the rotation of the Earth hasn't affected the stars yet. I'm shooting these images on a Nikon D850. Now that camera is a workhorse, it's a tank, it's heavy. I felt that as I was coming up here today on my back. That being said, you don't need to go out and spend thousands of dollars on a super expensive camera and lenses to take photographs of the Milky Way. You can use the camera you've got if you know how to dial in the settings. So I hope this has helped. I'll show you guys a little bit more footage once it gets dark. One of the reasons I love photographing the Milky Way so much is because it's just so peaceful. It's still, there's no movement, there's no noise. You kind of forget about everything that's happening in the world around you just because it's so nice up here. For a lot of people, as they're out taking pictures of the Milky Way, you'll hear something that moves over in the trees, or your mind will start to play tricks on you and you'll start to get scared. That's happened to me a couple times, but I carry with me a secret weapon. That secret weapon is brave and fearless and strong and courageous. It is my loyal adventure poodle. Now, she may not look like much, but I assure you, she is a fierce, bloodthirsty animal. I'm just teasing. She actually got scared at a snow cone earlier today. So it's just after 11 o'clock. Dark night has officially started and the Milky Way is out, and boy, she is beautiful tonight. I'm getting quite a bit of air glow in my images, green, blue, and then plus the detail of the Milky Way. Okay, you guys are driving me insane. You're making it really hard for me to finish this video. Will you get off? So if you want to just take one image of the Milky Way and call it good, that works just fine. The reason I'm taking so long is because what I'm doing is I'm taking multiple images that I will later then stack into one image. When you're photographing the Milky Way, your ISO, or your camera sensitivity to light, is high. In my case, it's at 6400. The higher the number, the more artificial noise and grain you're going to get in your images. That can be taken away by stacking the images onto each other. What that does is it reduces the noise, and then it allows you to get more color and things like that out of your images, along with the detail. The quality just looks quite a bit better. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you learned something and found it entertaining. I had a really good time making it. If you'd like to see more videos like this in the future, please subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you and have a great week. It's time to go.